From the fear of peanut butter to the fear of belly buttons, these are the 30 most bizarre phobias you didn't know existed. Phobia. Phobia is the fear of teenagers, which many parents might argue isn't all that irrational. For phobes, a group of teens hanging out at the mall is scarier than any haunted house. They'd probably rather face a zombie than a teenager with attitude. Nomophobia. Nomophobia is the fear of being without a mobile phone, and it's perfect for anyone who starts to panic when their battery dips below 20%. If the thought of losing signal sends chills down your spine, you might just be a nomophobe. Because really, what's scarier than being left alone with your own thoughts for more than 5 minutes? Ergophobia. With ergophobia, the fear of work, Mondays are way more terrifying than they are for the rest of us. Even the thought of a job interview or tackling that to-do list can send ergophobes into a full-blown panic. Their dream job, professional nap taker, if only it existed. Chronophobia. Chronophobia is the fear of time passing, which makes every tick of the clock a reminder of their biggest fear. A birthday party could feel like a horror show, with each candle on the cake bringing another shiver. Time flies, but for chronophobes, it's more like time swoops down like a vulture. Somnophobia. People with somnophobia, the fear of sleep, are definitely not fans of bedtime. For them, the thought of drifting off into dreamland is scarier than any late-night horror movie. While most of us count sheep, somnophobes are too busy trying to avoid the Sandman's visit altogether. Optophobia. Optophobia is the fear of opening one's eyes. Imagine waking up every morning and being terrified of facing the day, literally. Optophobes might just prefer walking around with their eyes closed, which can make things like crossing the street a little tricky. Hippopotamonstrosesquipedaliophobia. If you have hippopotamonstrosesquipedaliophobia, then you suffer from a fear of long words. Yes, they really did name it that. It's like a cruel joke, giving the phobia of long words a name that's longer than a hippo. Saying it out loud would probably make a sufferer want to hide under a very short word. Omphalophobia. Omphalophobia is the fear of belly buttons, and it's no laughing matter. Well, except for everyone else. Whether it's their own or someone else's, belly buttons send omphalophobes running for cover. Beach days are definitely not their idea of a good time. Coulrophobia. If coulrophobia, the fear of clowns, sounds familiar, it's probably because many of us can relate. With those painted-on smiles and oversized shoes, clowns look more like nightmare fuel than birthday party entertainers. Thanks to movies and haunted houses, coulrophobes have enough reason to steer clear of the circus for life. Globophobia. Globophobia is the fear of balloons. And yes, that means party decor is a no-go. For these folks, the suspense of a balloon popping is like living in a horror movie. Letting one loose at a birthday party, it's their version of a jump scare. Genophobia. If you have genophobia, the fear of knees, you're probably not a fan of shorts or any summer clothing, really. Knees are everywhere, bending, walking, and just existing, and for a genuphobe, it's like facing a jointed nightmare. Let's just say they definitely aren't kneeling down to tie their shoes. Turophobia. Turophobia is the fear of cheese, and yes, that includes cheddar, brie, and even that friendly string cheese. To a turophobe, that melty goodness on pizza is more like molten terror. Cheese boards? They'd rather face a plate of broccoli, and that's saying something. Anatidophobia. Somewhere out there, a duck is watching, or at least that's what anatidophobia, the fear of being watched by a duck, is all about. It sounds absurd, but for those with this fear, even the idea of a mallard lurking behind a bush is the stuff of nightmares. Quack, quack, just don't look behind you. Chirophobia. Chirophobia, the fear of hands, means that even a simple handshake can send shivers down the spine. High fives? Nope. Fist bumps? Not happening. For chirophobes, their own hands are like five-fingered foes that they have to face every day. Allodoxophobia. If allodoxophobia is your struggle, you're afraid of opinions. Yep, you read that right. Hearing other people's thoughts on everything from politics to pineapple pizza is like walking through a minefield. Being a social media influencer is definitely not in their future. Zemophobia. With zemophobia, you have a fear of the great mole rat, and it's as niche as it sounds. While most people are more worried about regular rats, zemophobes have a special spot reserved in their nightmares for these subterranean critters. Who knew underground rodents could cause such above-ground panic? Isotrophobia. Isotrophobia, the fear of mirrors or seeing one's own reflection, means the bathroom mirror is basically a haunted house. Instead of mirror, mirror on the wall, they're more like mirror, mirror, please fall. They've perfected the art of washing their face without looking up ever. Ablutophobia. Ablutophobia is the fear of bathing or washing, which makes shower time feel like a scene from a horror movie. While most people find a nice bath relaxing, ablutophobes would rather run from soap like it's a bar of doom. For them, the phrase clean freak is definitely not in their vocabulary. Linophobia. If linophobia sounds a bit threadbare, that's because it's the fear of string. To a linenophobe, every ball of yarn is a coiled-up catastrophe waiting to unravel. Forget about sewing or even wrapping presents. Ribbons and thread are their mortal enemies. Decidophobia. Decidophobia is the fear of making decisions, which means choosing between pizza toppings or what show to binge watch can be an absolute nightmare. For a decidophobe, every choice feels like a life or death scenario, and the words "you choose" might as well be a curse. Xanthophobia. Sunny days, rubber ducks, and bananas are a no-go if you have xanthophobia, the fear of the color yellow. To a xanthophobe, yellow isn't just bright, it's blindingly terrifying. They'd rather face a thunderstorm than come across a field of sunflowers. Geliophobia. Geliophobia is the fear of laughter, which makes comedy clubs a definite no-go. To a geliophobe, every giggle is like a spooky cackle, and every chuckle feels like nails on a chalkboard. They probably have a serious poker face game just to keep those smiles at bay. Heliophobia. Heliophobia is the fear of the sun, making sunny days a real-life horror show. While most people bask in the warmth, heliophobes hide like they're being chased by a fireball. Sunscreen? Not even close. These folks are more about staying in the shadows. Syngenesophobia. Syngenesophobia is the fear of relatives, which makes family reunions sound more like a haunted house tour. While most people might dread small talk with an aunt or uncle, syngenesophobes would rather face a ghost than endure another. So when are you getting married? Interrogation. Triskaidekaphobia. Triskaidekaphobia is the fear of the number 13, which makes Friday the 13th an absolute nightmare. While most just avoid walking under ladders or breaking mirrors, triskaidekaphobes steer clear of even looking at the number. They'd probably skip from floor 12 straight to 14 just to be safe. Arachibutyrophobia. Arachibutyrophobia is the fear of peanut butter sticking to the roof of your mouth, turning a common snack into a sticky situation. For arachibutyrophobes, spreading peanut butter on toast is a daring act like facing a gooey beast. PB and J? More like PB and no thank you please. Leucophobia. Leucophobia is the fear of the color white, and for leucophobes, snow days are the ultimate nightmare. That fresh, fluffy blanket of white? More like a terrifying tundra. White walls, white sheets, anything resembling a blank canvas is just way too spooky. Pogonophobia. Pogonophobia is the fear of beards, which turns every encounter with a lumberjack or a Santa Claus impersonator into a nightmare. For a pogonophobe, a thick beard isn't just facial hair, it's a fuzzy fortress of fear. Movember? More like November for these folks. Allophobia. Allophobia is the fear of flutes. Yes, those innocent little instruments. While most people hear sweet melodies, allophobes hear a sinister tune. A high school band concert could send them running for the hills faster than you can say woodwind. Phobophobia. Phobophobia is the fear of, well, phobias. It's like a never-ending loop of fear, afraid of being afraid. It's a bit like being scared of fear itself, which makes living in a world full of daily anxieties a full-time job. Talk about stress on top of stress. Thanks for joining us on this wild ride through the most bizarre phobias. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share which fear did you find most bizarre in the comments below.